Welcome everyone. Hope you're doing well. We appreciate you joining us. And if you find our content insightful and engaging, please consider liking this video and subscribing to our channel for more in-depth explorations. It really helps me continue doing this. Today, we turn our attention to a deeply tragic case from the Netherlands, a story that is not just about a crime, but about the human lives caught in a devastating spiral. This is the story of Jesse R. and his mother, Alia. Jesse, a man of 31 at the time of these events, had been diagnosed with manic depression, a condition more commonly known as bipolar disorder. For those unfamiliar, bipolar disorder can bring about extreme shifts in mood, energy, and activity levels, making day-to-day life a profound challenge. If left unmanaged, it can, in some severe cases, lead to psychosis, a state where an individual loses touch with reality. Jesse was aware of his condition. About a year before the tragic events unfolded, he made a poignant post on LinkedIn. He was looking for an organization, he wrote, that would dare to understand the limitations of his manic depression, an employer who was not afraid to use his giftedness as much as possible. This tells us he was trying, seeking a way to navigate his life and contribute, despite the immense hurdles his illness presented. The difficulty in finding or maintaining stable employment, a common struggle for many with serious mental health conditions, likely added another layer of pressure to his already fragile state. For a time, Jesse lived alone. His world was a small 27-square-meter studio apartment at a large student campus known as Our Campus, located in Diemen, on the outskirts of Amsterdam. Neighbors from that time paint a picture of profound isolation. He was rarely seen. Few, if any, visitors ever came to his door. It's not hard to imagine how such deep solitude could have impacted his mental state, perhaps leading to a worsening of his condition or a reduction in adherence to any treatment he might have been receiving. As the months and weeks drew closer to the tragedy, there were indications that Jesse's illness was indeed escalating. Neighbors of his mother, Alia, in the town of Hellevoetsluis, later recalled that Jesse had, in their words, suffered from psychoses. This suggests his condition was deteriorating, possibly becoming unmanaged, and that his family, particularly his mother, was likely aware and growing increasingly concerned. Alia, Jesse's mother, was 61 years old. Those who knew her in Hellevoetsluis described her as a very sweet woman. Like countless parents of adult children battling severe mental illness, Alia was likely Jesse's primary caregiver, his main pillar of support, especially during the darkest periods of his illness. The journey for families in such situations is often one of immense, quiet struggle. They navigate complex healthcare systems, often facing long waiting lists and immense difficulty in accessing specialized care for severe and complex cases. The emotional and practical burden on Alia must have been immense, a constant worry and a tireless effort to find help for her son. It's a sad reality that many such attempts for adequate support are met with insufficient resources or systemic roadblocks, leaving families feeling desperate and alone. In the days leading up to the tragedy, Jesse left his isolated apartment in Amsterdam. He moved in with his mother, Alia, in Hellevoetsluis. The reasons for this move can only be speculated upon. Perhaps his condition had worsened beyond his ability to cope alone. Maybe Alia, in her maternal concern, had brought him home for closer care, a last resort in a deteriorating situation. The atmosphere in their home during those final days must have been incredibly tense, with Alia trying to manage a crisis that was spiraling out of control. Then came Wednesday, April 16th, 2025. For Alia, the day might have started with a semblance of normalcy. Neighbors saw her returning home with shopping bags in the early afternoon, an ordinary moment that belied the horror to come. But soon after, a disturbing sound shattered the quiet of Molenstraat. A neighbor later recounted hearing a noise, a terrible sound, like someone was hitting an animal. This was likely sometime between 2 and 2:30 in the afternoon. Inside Alia's home, an unimaginable act of violence was taking place. Jesse, in what would later be understood as a severe psychotic state, attacked his mother. The details are harrowing. Alia was decapitated. The police were called to the scene around 2:45 that afternoon. As they arrived, Jesse was seen running from the house. He clutched a hold-all, a bag. He got into his car and fled. An alert was issued, and a police pursuit began. Jesse drove away from Hellevoetsluis, but he wouldn't get far. He was intercepted by police on the A4 motorway near Schipluiden and Delft, roughly 30 kilometers from his mother's home. When they stopped his car, they made the gruesome discovery. Inside the hold-all Jesse carried was Alia's head. Officers at the scene described Jesse's state as consistent with a severe psychotic episode. He appeared detached from reality, lost in a world incomprehensible to those around him. The news sent shockwaves through the small community of Hellevoetsluis and indeed across the Netherlands. The mayor expressed the town's profound shock and disbelief. For Jesse, the legal process began. He was taken into custody, and a psychiatric evaluation was initiated. In the Dutch legal system, when crimes of such severity are committed by individuals in a state of psychosis, the focus often shifts from punishment to treatment, recognizing that the person may not have been criminally responsible for their actions due to their mental state. This case leaves behind a trail of devastation and so many unanswered questions. How did things escalate to this horrific point? While we've avoided delving into specific statistics about healthcare systems today, it's impossible not to reflect on the broader context. When individuals with severe mental illness and their families struggle to find timely and adequate support, when systems are overwhelmed or ill-equipped to handle the most complex needs, the risk of such tragic breakdowns increases. This isn't about assigning blame to one single point of failure, but about acknowledging the immense challenge of mental illness and the societal responsibility to provide compassionate and effective care for its most vulnerable members. Jesse's story, and Alia's, is a stark reminder of the human cost when that care falls short. Thank you for joining us on World Web Curious for this difficult but important story. We believe that understanding these events in all their complexity is crucial. If you found this exploration valuable, please like this video, subscribe to our channel, and feel free to share your thoughts respectfully in the comments below. Our channel focuses on geopolitics and true crime, and we aim to bring you more in-depth content soon. Stay curious and stay informed.